What is going on, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global back here with another video, and if you saw my last video, you would know that the New England Patriots placed two players on the injured reserve in defensive tackle Beau and running back Damien Harris. So what that means is that the Patriots had two open roster spots, and they already decided to fill those up. Now, they didn't go out free agency-wise. They didn't make any trades. Instead, they looked towards their practice squad and promoted two players, and ironically, two rookies. One of them being a 6th-round pick in linebacker Cassh Maluia, and the other one being UDFA signing running back J.J. Taylor. I definitely know that a lot of you are going to be hyped up in the comments. I know that a lot of you are already sending me DMs and commenting on the videos that you were super hyped about J.J. Taylor, and personally, I'm super excited about the addition of linebacker Cassh Maluia, who I think kind of the entire time the Patriots wanted to have on that 53-man roster. And essentially what I mean by that is the fact that Cassh Maluia has been a standout for the New England Patriots all training camp. When he was cut for 53-man roster cutdowns, I was very shocked. Not only because he brings help at a position, and he was standing out at a position the New England Patriots really need help at, which is linebacker. I mean, they really only have one true linebacker on this year's roster in Ja'Whaun Bentley. But Cassh also brings ability for special teams, which Bill Belichick loves. So when he was cut, it just did not make any sense. So they ended up cutting him for 53-man roster cutdowns. He cleared waivers. They right away signed him to the practice squad. They had Beau and Damien Harris placed on the injured reserve. And then, of course, Cassh was promoted, which I think was Belichick's plan all along. It's just kind of that sort of thing where in order to get Beau and Damien Harris back later in the season for 2020, they have to first make the original 53-man roster, which means some guys had to get cut first. And I think that for Cassh, that was kind of just the situation. He had to be cut first just so they could put Beau and Damien Harris on injured reserve and then be able to bring Cassh back with that open roster spot. Promoting him will definitely give the Patriots a lot of much-needed depth for off-the-ball linebacker. Like I mentioned, Ja'Whaun Bentley, really that only true linebacker the Patriots have. They have Josh Uche, Anthony Jennings, and Brandon Copeland, but those are more edge defenders. Maluia will bring that sideline-to-sideline speed that I just don't think that they have within the center of the field. They just don't have at that linebacker position. The thing about Cassh when he was originally drafted, and this is something that I liked within getting him in just the 6th round, was the fact that he helps the Patriots in coverage. He isn't a pound-the-ball type of linebacker. I heard a lot of people saying, well, Cassh can help replace a Landon Roberts, and I don't think that he would replace a Landon Roberts because they're two very different play style of linebackers. Now, can Cassh still get to the quarterback? Can Cassh stop the run? Yes, he can, but I think with seeing his sideline-to-sideline speed and the fact that he brings speed to the linebacker position and seeing his skills in coverage, even in training camp, I think that's what he brings help at, that coverage-style linebacker, which, again, we really do need. I remember in training camp, he had a few interceptions, but I remember one of the interceptions was off of Patriots starting back Cam Newton, just had a really good read defensively and was able to make the pick. And then there was another one where he came up through the middle of the field and was able to stop Jakob Johnson before he got to the goal line, which was really a standout play to me. Really opened my eyes. I definitely expect to see Cassh on special teams 120%, but I'm also really hoping to see him get a good amount of snaps here defensively, just because I really think he brings an aspect to the linebacker group, to the defense, that the Patriots are really lacking after the departures they had in free agency. Now, before we do get into before we get into J.J. Taylor, y'all, just got to let you know that football is finally back and the wait is over. Now, you might not be able to be at a game this upcoming season, but you can still get in of all the action with BetOnline. Now, BetOnline is going the extra mile to make sure that you get in on everything imaginable for this upcoming season. All the way from game spreads and totals to team, player, and coaching props, BetOnline gives you more options to wager than any place online. You can get in on their season opening bonuses today and start off wagering on win, division, and championship features today. All you got to do is head to BetOnline today and take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses. Again, that is BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. But as for J.J. Taylor, and yes, that J.J. Taylor, the UDFA signing by the New England Patriots concluding the 2020 NFL Draft, the 5'5", 22-year-old running back, 188 pounds, has made the Patriots' final roster. And I definitely think that this is an extremely interesting move here by the New England Patriots. And I'm not going to lie, I was definitely a bit surprised. Now, I definitely didn't think he was going to make the final 53-man roster, which he didn't. But, you know, for Damien Harris to go on injured reserve and for the New England Patriots to go, okay, let's add some depth at running back, let's go with J.J. Taylor, definitely was a bit surprising. That's not to get on J.J. Taylor or to say that he doesn't have talent, because if you go all the way back to, you know, me talking about the Patriots draft and the UDFAs, you would know that J.J. Taylor was one of my favorite signings, and I think that he is the most talented UDFA signing that the New England Patriots had, and had the ability, the full ability to go drafted. In fact, a lot of people were surprised that J.J. Taylor didn't get drafted. Now, I definitely will warn Patriots fans and people that are extremely high on J.J. Taylor to not get their hopes up on him just yet. He's definitely a depth piece. He's not a guy who is going to come in and take over that Damien Harris role. You know, I still think that James White, Rex Burkhead, and Sonny Michel, they're all still above J.J. Taylor, and I think are guys that Belichick would much rather go with than J.J. Taylor because he is still a rookie. If you look at his training camp, it was spectacular, but he still had a lot of rookie mistakes. He had a lot of issues with running the right route. He had some issues with dropping the ball. So I definitely think that he is that fourth running back on the Patriots depth chart behind all of those other guys. I mean, let's be real with ourselves. It would be the classic Bill Belichick move to bring up J.J. Taylor from the practice squad, a guy that everybody's hyped about, but to keep him on the healthy scratch list because, of course, the Patriots have to cut out a few players each week on game day, and that guy could potentially be J.J. Taylor. And then when Damien Harris comes back, he could be a guy that ends up getting cut. I do hope, though, that we are able to see even just a little bit from J.J. Taylor. Bill Belichick is doing something this upcoming season that he hasn't done before, and that's because he knows that this is a very wonky year and that 2021 is when the Patriots have money to be able to really go out and make moves and whatnot. He's giving rookies and second-year players the chance to have starting jobs and make actual impacts and get real snap time, which that never really happens within the Patriots organization. So maybe J.J. Taylor does get some snaps. Again, I'm really hoping he does so we can see what he's like, just because Belichick is taking a bit of a different approach for this upcoming season. I do think that J.J. Taylor does bring an aspect for New England that they don't really have, and that is that Dion Lewis-esque type of role. And that is exactly what you've been hearing throughout training camp and throughout the selection of J.J. Taylor not selection, but just when they picked him up as a signing for UDFA following the 2020 draft, is that he's very similar to Dion Lewis. Very shifty. He has the ability to be a pass catcher. He's a guy that worked a lot on kick returns and punt returns, so he brings that special teams ability. We could potentially see him back there. I mean, he's a guy that averaged 24 yards per kickoff return in college. So I think for J.J. Taylor, in order for him to continue to make this roster following the addition of bringing back Damien Harris, is that as long as Belichick gives him snaps to prove himself, he's really got to do so. He can't fumble the ball. He can't have issues with drops. He's got to run that ball really, really well and show that he has the ability to be a pass catcher also. I mean, it definitely says something that Belichick didn't roll with Lamar Miller. Now, maybe that's because Miller is still dealing with injury or whatnot, but even the fact that Belichick didn't look towards free agency to add another running back, he decided to go with J.J. Taylor. I do think that says something. But that is going to be it for today's video. What are your guys' thoughts on the promotions of linebacker Cassh Maluia and running back J.J. Taylor? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to give this video a big thumbs up if you haven't already. It would mean the world to me. It really helps the channel out and it costs you nothing. And consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already for all of your New England Patriots news. But like always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.
world.